Hey, this is Farah.
This is Alex.
And welcome back. So today we have a guest, very special, dear guest.
Yes.
And do you want to introduce yourself?
Hi, I'm Lizzie. I work in infection medicine, mainly on viruses. Infection medicine. I'll explain a bit more about what I get up to later on.
Cool. So let's move on to the news part.
Do.
Okay, that was a bit overly dramatic.
Is that going to be a Big Ben bomb?
No. All right. So latest news update about the
nCoV 2019.
Oh, you haven't still named it.
What?
Have they not still named the virus?
nCoV 2019.
Oh, they need to think of a better name, but never mind, continue.
I told you about it so many times, and also in the previous episodes.
I know, continue please.
I mean, gov.co.uk is naming it as like the Wuhan 2019 virus, so is that better for you?
Slightly. Improvement.
Yeah, you can call it that. That's what they're calling it. They know there's not a real name yet.
Okay.
So according to the CDC, it's the nCoV 2019.
Right.
So yes, all the flights from British Airways to and from China have been stopped. And they are even cleaning the lanes, like people full on hazmat suit, face masks, and like spraying the interior of the planes before sending them back to China to collect the 200 people stuck in Wuhan, which will be then put into isolation when they come back to the UK.
What kind of chemicals are spraying?
Suppose Virkon, like we do in the lab.
What?
Virkon.
Vircon's
What's
actually
that?
really toxic.
Yeah, that's why we've got a full face mask.
Yeah. You're supposed to.
Alright. Okay.
Or probably like 70% ethanol.
That's better though. I think ethanol would be better than
On
chemical.
I mean, there's been a few papers published that show that alcohol does have an effect on the nCoV virus.
Already?
Yeah, you told me about that. Was that because patients were consuming alcohol, or did they
No.
put alcohol on the virus?
On said virus in petri dish.
Ooh.
What percentage? Was it gin? I bet it was gin.
No, I think it's like the laboratory 100% ethanol or 70%.
Yeah, because gin is just 40%, so it's not enough to kill. This cell might be a bit drunk, but not enough to kill them.
Yeah, 100%
Are you saying the
evaporates really
virus will
quickly.
get drunk?
I don't know. I never spoke to them before.
You've never spoken to the virus before?
No.
Do you know what? Me neither.
Oh my
Actually,
god.
no, do you know what? Tell a lie. I do speak to them. They just don't speak to me back very often. And then my colleagues stop speaking to me somehow. So yeah, it happens. It happens.
Have I been transported to another dimension? Because this is of another world, honestly.
What happens in tissue culture stays in tissue culture.
Oh yeah, obviously. I had a funeral for my cells last year because I had finished using them.
Yeah, I got hurried along when I was trying to have moments of silence for the cells I had to throw away. I was just like, no, someone else is booked. I've got to go.
What?
Because
Literally,
you
I
pour them
grabbed
into bleach.
I just grabbed a few people. I was like, okay, so we are here assembled to commemorate TK6 lymphoblasts. They have served me well. And then I poured the ethanol onto the cells.
Oh, we just chuck them in a tub of bleach and leave them there.
Yeah, no, it was practice before to put like 100% ethanol on them.
That's a waste.
Of
Just stick them in
alcohol.
bleach.
Waste of alcohol? Like, I think it's just cheaper than alcohol, right?
Also, we have an alcohol quota on this building, and every building in the UK, you in lab terms, you have like a quota of ethanol that you can. So we're getting near our quota actually at the end of this April. By March, April, we start having to ration everything we have.
Why?
Really?
Yeah, there's only so much you can have per building. I think my understanding is, I mean, I'm probably wrong, but yeah, near March time we start having to cut
Wait, is it alcohol, like drinking alcohol? Or
Well,
like
so does it
100% ethanol that we
Does
get
it
in.
renew,
Oh, right.
like the taxes renew on
I think it's April, it might be May. It's sometime last spring that we had to be really careful that you can't place any more orders. The building cannot place any more orders. I don't know, feel free to look it up.
How does the building know how much alcohol we have?
Well, the stores manage it. We don't buy it from outside. The stores bring it in.
Yeah, but if you can say, we use like half of the supply in one day. They could not measure that, how much you use.
I mean, the stores have a record of how many bottles come in and then a record of how many bottles people take.
Can you just take out bottles and not use them?
They bill it to your grant. They bill it to your grant money or your funding.
It's not like you put orders on eBay.
Oh, okay, no. So
I'm staying out of this
we
conversation.
have like a lab ordering system. So you just basically go online. I feel like it is Amazon for scientists.
Yeah.
And I go on and
It
just
takes
like,
more than 3 weeks to come.
yeah, I'm just like add to cart. I want some of these. Add to cart, and then it just comes off some grant money. Somebody deals with all the grant money and the payments, and then they can justify the cost. And then we get it from stores.
Why don't they get like a next day delivery?
I mean, some things are because they have like a ton of stock in the stock room already. So if you order like a box of gloves, they'll come the next day because they have them already. But if you want,
the next day, you can even have them like just.
oh yeah, a couple of hours. But sometimes if you want something that's really obscure, like I had to order some special chemicals from America, and that took quite a while to get here, obviously.
They had to go over the wall, then through the ocean. It's such a palaver.
Yeah, I'm glad they bubble wrapped it. It's waterproof.
Yeah.
Oh.
Mm-hmm. So when they
So you will not break as well because bubble wrap. Like
No, they had to get like Mexican children to throw it over.
No, I think it's more of a message in a bottle kind of thing nowadays. They do.
I don't know, but they have to throw it over the wall, then it has to flow through the sea.
I'm not sure which side of the wall it came from.
Exactly, see, that's a problem, so we don't know.
I don't know. I just placed an order on the Amazon for scientists, and it arrived in a couple of weeks.
As you can tell, the scientists absolutely love politics.
do we?
No,
Oh no, hon, no.
that was irony.
Oh. All right. I thought. I mean, what's the date today?
30th
Oh, tomorrow's the last day. We're in.
January, yeah, finally, the 3 months of January have passed.
No,
She means
tomorrow's the
Brexit.
last. Yeah, tomorrow's the last day. We're in EU.
See, it doesn't matter for me.
I'm just saying.
Yeah, it just doesn't matter for me. I'll be in the EU, whatever happens.
Oh yeah, dual passport.
Anyway, let's move on. Do you want to share with us your experience of lab work?
Well, I don't know if I'm still qualified to be on your podcast anymore. I'm no longer
Well, you have
technically.
been a student at some point in your life.
Yeah, I've been a student for the last 12
What,
months.
2 weeks?
But
2 weeks ago, you were a student.
yeah, as of 2 weeks ago, and now suddenly the next day I came in thinking I'm everyone's boss. So it's
But
a nice
reality,
change.
you're
Not my
everyone's
boss.
yeah, pretty much. No.
Right.
So for the last year I've been working on what we call the SALT project, which is exactly what it sounds. It's sodium chloride. So really cheap reagents, which is great. So I've been working with
chips, putting on chips with a bit of
I
vinegar.
do. I try doing that in front of my supervisors. I'm like, what? Salt's an antiviral? And they go, not like that. You're going to get heart disease. And I'm just munching my chips in a lab meeting. So I've been working on salt being sort of as an antiviral. So different viral infections. We've been trying to look at HSV1, so herpes simplex virus 1, cold sore virus, and also influenza A virus, a strain called PR8. And they're two morphologically distinct viruses. So one's DNA, one's RNA, double-stranded, single-stranded, things like that. So they're quite different in terms of the biology of the viruses. So if we see patterns between both of those viruses, maybe the pattern is for all viruses. We don't know, but we can look into that a bit more. But those two viruses are quite easy to maintain in culture and do experiments on.
Okay, so how does a salt act as an antiviral?
So we're not exactly sure is the real answer. That's part of my project and why they're keeping me on to try and investigate this a bit more. But we know that if you put salt on the virus directly without any cells, that doesn't do it.
I assume it's liquid, in liquid form.
Yeah, so I have a stock solution that I made of like 5 molar salt, which is the highest you can get, and then I just dilute that for my experiments and then put it on the cells. But it has to go through the cells. You can't just put some salt on a virus and hope it works. So it's cell mediated, but we don't know which part of the cell, which mechanisms in the cell. We're not really sure yet is the true answer, but we know that it can have an antiviral effect in some cell lines with some viruses.
So it sounds like you're pickling the cell.
Yeah, if you like, sure. I mean, that'd be more vinegar, wouldn't it?
Yeah, you need to cook the cell first and then put it in vinegar.
Really? Do you not just dump lots of salt on on pickled fish? Do you not
No.
put
Well,
lots
that's
of
like preservative, isn't it? I
That's
suppose?
dehydration.
Oh.
Salt attracts water.
I thought salt is just to give more flavour.
I mean, yeah, that too, but I'm not looking to taste my cells, my virally infected cells. I've not once gone, tastes like herpes. Never. Never done that.
Never will.
Never will. But I'm sure they taste better with salt. But I'm not going to find out.
So the salt, being an antiviral, only works when the virus is in the cell, not.
So my supervisors before me also looked at sort of the time frame. So if you try to give salt to the cell before it even seen the virus, that doesn't make a difference.
Right.
If you try to give it at the same time as you give the virus, that doesn't make a difference either. It's only when you give the virus, wait a bit, or an hour or so, then give it salt, and it's during the viral replication within the cell, that's when you start to see any kind of effect.
So are you saying that if we get a cold, we have to snort salt?
I mean, snort, maybe not. Just rub it in the gums kind of thing. That would probably work. No, we're not exactly sure how it would work. Well, I mean, there's like the saline like nasal irrigation and things like that. It's quite popular in America as well, that people gargle with salt water, or you sort of nasally irrigate. It's a horrible saying. Yeah, you snort it up your nose and it comes back out.
I have to do it like when I have like bad hay fever.
Same.
Yeah, so yeah, it's a common thing that people are already doing. So no, don't just go and find some salt granules and salt sachets from the canteen and snort them. Please don't. But saline water.
I just thought I'd, ask because, never know, some people might get the idea.
Yeah, I'm not recommending that. To all your listeners, I'm not recommending snorting salt.
That's true.
You heard it here first, Farah.
But saline irrigation has been shown in the past, and I think we've been doing it for many, many years using salt in medicine. We're just not exactly sure the right mechanism of how it's having the effect.
Look at the mummies, how well they're preserved. They don't.
Are they preserved with salt?
They're preserved with lots of things.
So basically, what happens when the body dies of a pharaoh is they remove the brain through the nose, so remove 90% of all organs because that purifies the body. So what's left is basically a bag of flesh, which is just muscles, skin and bones and ligaments and whatnot, in which they then put a few things like amulets, and then they put the body in salt for at least a month for it to get all the moisture out, so it mummifies, so it doesn't decompose, and then you wrap it up in like oils and parchment, kind of.
The bandages that you would see at
yeah.
Halloween.
Parchment.
And you put that in a wooden sarcophagus, in which you put in a very fancy sarcophagus, in which you put in a massive block of granite, in which you put in a massive triangular shaped thing.
Do you mean the pyramids?
Yes, that's it.
Well, is that to prevent like oxygen from entering the coffin?
So basically, the belief that for the body to be able to travel to the afterlife, like for soul to travel to the afterlife, the body has to stay intact as long as possible, because the voyage may take millennia. And so it's like the car and the tar, and one of them is a soul and stuff like that. I can't remember the specific name, so don't hate me. But basically, for one to be able to travel to the afterlife, the other one has to be preserved. So if, let's say, you've been cremated after death, but you haven't travelled to the afterlife, your like metaphysical body should be burned too. But if you had time to travel, then you're fine.
How long does it take to travel to afterlife?
Do you know what? I've never asked anyone that.
Well,
They've never replied to me.
Have you asked?
No, but if you look at if you really want to get more detail and accurate detail, because this is just off the top of my head, they have to travel through different doors through the afterlife, and at the end they have to weigh their entire life compared to this what is it, plume thing, like bit of a bird that flies.
Yeah, I suppose plume.
Yeah.
Feathers.
Yeah, the
plumage?
That
is a real word. It is a real word.
They put their heart on the scales and they put a feather on the other side, and that feather should like determine whether or not your soul is good enough to go to the good afterlife or the bad afterlife, depending on what you've done in your life.
Is this the new Netflix thing with Kristen Bell?
No.
That you're on about with the good and the bad
No,
afterlives?
I'm talking about like Greek. No, not Greek.
Ancient Egypt?
Ancient Egypt.
Are you sure it's not the Netflix one?
No, I'm sure.
Okay.
It's not points.
Okay.
It's the weight of your soul.
Just checking. Just checking.
I'm just saying they might just have based it very strongly on Egyptian mythology.
I find it interesting, but I
mean-
didn't have the chance to study it.
That's not really why I chose soul, if that's your question.
Anyway, yes.
Maybe they already had it figured out during Egyptian time that virus can be stopped.
You think in
That's
Egyptian times they already knew what a virus was?
They had good knowledge of medicine, but
They did.
Yeah.
But without a
That's
microscope, it's very hard
Yes.
to try and
Maybe
distinguish
they
pathogens.
just know something, not very specifically.
Okay, in which case we were then reverted to the Middle Ages where you just have the devil in your head. And then they
No,
try
I'm
and
just
drill a
saying
hole.
And they'd let blood out thinking it would get the ailment out.
Yeah, just a little bit of leeches, you're cured.
20 litres of blood and you could let 7 out easily.
And then you couldn't stand.
Or
So,
couldn't you wake up?
yeah.
Anyway, I believe you brought in a paper with you.
Yeah, so it's not so much a serious paper. It's one that I found quite funny. One that actually won the Ig Nobel Prize in 2017, I think. But it came out in 2014. So it's essentially, it's whether or not cats are liquids. Cats can be classified as a liquid or a solid.
Interesting. Please tell us more.
So it's by a French guy. So Alex, I think, can you read the name because I'm
Yes.
probably going to butcher it.
Marc-Antoine Fardin.
Ah, perfect. Okay, so he wrote this paper, which
And he won a Nobel Prize.
Ig Nobel Prize. So it's like a parody of the Nobel Prize. It's intentionally humour science, but also
Oh,
it
so
make
it's
people
not
think.
real.
No, it is real. It's a real award, but it's intentionally sort of a prize to make people sort of laugh first and then think second.
Oh, okay, continue.
I mean,
Not like the Nobel Prize where you think first and laugh after.
Really? Why would you laugh after a Nobel Prize?
there were some other ones. I did look up some other the prize winners. Sort of things like why do wombats make cubed poo? Make little cubes. Sort of whether a cockroach has different biomagnetism based on whether it's dead or alive.
Right.
And also I think twins struggle to recognise themselves in photos. Identical twins, if you show them a photo of one of them and say it's like you or your sister or brother, they struggle. That's one of the papers. But yeah, the cats are liquid is probably one of my favourite ones. So most of their figures and their references just come from like online cat photos or like memes, which makes me very happy.
So they got that meme of a cat like at a table and there's like the girl pointing at it and the other guy in the back is like,
Oh, with the salad.
yeah.
No, it's not that one. This came out in 2014, so it's a little bit old. But there are cats in sinks, cats in bowls. There's a cat in a jar, and they're sort of saying it's got active movement of being able to turn itself around in the jar because it now faces you to look at you and say, what the fuck?
Okay. Do you want to describe some of the methodology they used?
A lot of the stats, I'll be honest with you, I didn't really understand all of the stats because it does go into sort of very physicsy. So they've actually done some equations on it and they're sort of saying that it shows Newtonian sort
Fluid?
of... Yeah, so it's all to do with basically a liquid, by definition, like flows, doesn't it? Sort of the flow of a liquid, it can fit any container.
Yep.
And whether or not the cat can actually adapt in enough time to fill the container. And if you've seen a cat, they will fit in anywhere and just relax. Because I read it about that they have like relaxation time of material, which sounds an awful lot like a cat relaxing in a bowl or a box. But no, my favourite bit, I think, is their methods, when they've just said, method, put down a box, 2, wait. That's what they've done to get the cat to fit in these containers.
The method doesn't include a cat? Or you have
Yeah, the method is just get a container.
That's some materials.
materials, yeah.
The method is just get a container.
Materials
And then
require
wait.
a cat to feed it, make sure it's still alive and happy.
Yeah. So it's an interesting paper to read, more for the pictures than anything else, just looking at cats in boxes where they probably shouldn't be. But they've actually done some real stats on it, and their conclusion is yes and no, a cat is both a liquid and a solid based on the circumstance.
Can someone do some follow-up research in our lab?
Can I get a cat
Yes.
and then I can do these experiments?
Yes.
Okay, if you've got the grant money for that, I will get a cat. Deal.
Deal. Cat lab.
Yeah.
No, in your lab?
Yeah.
I think we should get a lab mascot as a
we-
pet.
We transform the annex into like a cat petting area.
Oh my goodness, yeah. The therapy room.
There's a therapy room?
Wow.
Like have cats and dogs.
We need a therapy room.
Like
for
have
her.
cats and dogs that like go along with each other, keep them in the annex therapy room. It's warm enough that they'd be fine with it. We can walk the dogs around the labs and the cat would be independent, just doing their own thing and being little assholes and pushing the fowls off the tables.
Maybe we should just go on a trip to like the animal lab.
Nah.
And
there's a
pet what we can
husbandry
find. Yeah, and pet
Okay.
what we can find.
Yeah. Animal husbandry upstairs. I think there's mice and rats up there.
Yeah, I want something that meows or woofs, really. Something bigger.
Something that purrs.
Purse is good, yeah. If we can get a
That's
cat.
you if you've been purring it too long, so like it's got an inbuilt timer so you remember you have to go back to work.
Right, you have 5 minutes to enjoy this.
Oh, okay, it's done.
Yeah, time's over.
I mean, they do that. You get like, what, 2 or 3 tummy scratches depending on the cat, and then
Yes.
suddenly that's it. That's enough.
Or
Back
you
to
can
work.
get the 1 in a million cat that lets you pet it for eons.
And then they get annoyed when you stop petting.
Yes. And
Those
they
kind of
scratch
cats.
You.
Yeah.
And it's like, no, I want this attention. Come back to me.
My dog does that at home. My mum's dog. If you stop touching her, she looks at you to say, "Excuse me, and what do you think you're doing?" And you're like, "Oh, I'm sorry. I was petting you. I forgot."
Or like, sorry, I got tired of petting you, like, or scratching you, my hands are sore. Like, sorry,
It's
dog.
not a good enough excuse. She just looks at you like, "How dare you?"
You have offended me and my ancestors.
That's I'm sure that's
we were
exactly what she's
gods
thinking.
in ancient Egypt.
This is a dog, not a cat.
Well, we probably were too.
Is there not like a god with the head of a dog?
Yeah, that was the god of the underworld.
Oh yeah, it is.
Yeah,
That makes you show how much I love dogs.
yeah, that's what I mean.
Poor dogs. I mean, they
Go
have
on.
lots of animals that have like human body during the ancient Egypt.
Yeah, I don't know what they're doing at that point, but it was a bit weird.
Like, where did they get this idea from? Like, how do they know how a pig looks like?
They
How a
probably
pig
had
looks like.
pigs.
Yeah.
Like, maybe from possessing them?
No, is it not too hot for the pig to survive in there? It's all sand.
Have you seen any Egyptian gods with pig heads?
No. But
No,
also,
I thought there is.
no. Also, back in ancient Egypt, Egypt was not all sand. It was actually an oasis. If you look at if you look at the architecture, they had built-in like gutters and everything in most of the buildings, which displays how much rain they had. But so much rain that
They had a river,
yeah,
a really big one. They still have a big river in Egypt.
Yeah, but that one river though.
It's a big one.
If you look at the Sphynx, there is evidence of erosion, which means that there has been a lot of rainfall.
I haven't been, but I've seen from photos that everyone thinks the Sphynx is like in the middle of the desert, and if you just turn around and get another photo, there's a Starbucks and a Pizza Hut or something like that behind you.
Really? Oh, that's embarrassing.
See a picture can tell you 1,000 stories.
I know,
1,000
yeah.
words.
So I thought like because when
Words, 1,000 words.
Oh yeah.
I saw in the movie of like Egypt and it's all sand and sand. You know, like movies
was it
like
The
Indiana Jones. Yeah, it's the Mummy.
Indiana Jones is American made.
But was he not in somewhere near Egyptian
And
bit?
that would have been in the third film.
Some point, yeah. So no, can't remember.
And that was more the Saral region.
And which one's the big rock in?
No, that's the first one.
The first one, okay.
And we don't talk about the second one,
Why?
because we just don't talk about it.
What do you mean?
I don't even know which ones I've seen. I've seen bits of them.
Yeah, I can remember snippets of them. Like I can't remember.
Yeah,
which
there
one
wasn't
I
at
definitely
Christmas,
watched.
and you just see a little bit, and then you leave to get more food, and then you come back, and you still don't know what's going on.
Yeah.
That's pretty much Indiana Jones.
Yeah. Or Bond movies.
Yeah, they're all the same. I think I wouldn't even notice if my parents just put on a completely different movie
See,
halfway
like,
through.
James Bond is like, you get Bond, he gets half killed, he falls for a girl, she dies, he wins against the enemy, he dies, done, finished.
Wait, does James Bond die? I thought he always survived.
No, he nearly dies.
Oh, nearly.
Or fought as dead, but he's actually somewhere having a vacation drinking martinis.
Yeah.
You're laughing, but it's true, it happened in Skyfall.
Really?
Yeah, Skyfall.
Wait, I saw Skyfall. Can't remember that bit.
That's like at the start, like Moneypenny shoots him, and he's like, oh, dead. But no, actually he's not dead.
Which one has Judi Dench in?
That's Skyfall.
Okay.
It's when she dies.
Oh. I remember that she was in it. I don't really remember what happened. Thank
She
you.
dies. You're welcome.
Wait, she dies in the film or she died in real life?
In the film, she's
She's
still
still alive.
Okay, sorry.
And it's Dame Judi Dench.
Dame Judi Dench, exactly. She's a national treasure.
Oh, her.
Yes.
Yeah, now I remember. Yeah, she died in the movie.
So just because I did say Dame before, you didn't remember who she was?
No, but when like Lizzie say Dame Judy, then I know.
It's
she
the Judi
is.
Dench, but Dame Judi Dench, yeah.
Oh, okay. I like her. She has twinkly eyes.
She was so sassy.
Yeah.
Twinkly eyes.
Anyway, thank you, listeners. We're going to wrap up this episode. Thank you for participating.
Thank you for having me.
You're welcome.
Anytime.
Yeah, if you want to come back.
And talk about different aspects of your research.
Talk about your life as a... What are you now? Lab
I
tech?
still don't really know. I mean, I've got a job description the other day, so I think I'm either just
Lab tech?
head bitch in charge, I think was the official term.
Did you write the official term?
Maybe I did write the official term, but it might have come already on the email, so I think we'll just go with that.
Okay. Anywho, we will see you next time.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.